to do research. So whether you are interested in Chester Farm or another village in the area, we'll have the archaeological archives here. So it'll be a real asset for communities in the county is what I'm hoping. I want lots of people to use that resource. In terms of the sustainability of the site, then those of you who know heritage sites, they're very expensive, so we need lots of sort of extra ideas to raise money to cover the costs of running the site. So that's one reason for tea and coffee as well. We're going to rent out some office space. So again, if anyone knows an organisation that's interested in having some office space in what better place could you be? The sun always shines at Chester Farm, so you're guaranteed sunshine and fresh air, and just being, say, part of a really,
Trade Descriptions Act.
part of a really, really important heritage site. So we've got office space here for rent, and we will be doing activities and events as well, for which we will charge. But the main thing is, yes, the volunteer work and taking all the different projects forward. So I think that's all I need to say about the buildings.
That was one of the reasons for getting you here, because in 2 or 3 weeks' time, the gate we came through will be locked. And it will just be locked, period, for the best part of 2 years, 18 months. This building site, they're talking dozens of contractors on the ground. It will be quite a dangerous place, so you won't get the chance to see these buildings.
We're hoping we might be able to, particularly for school groups, be able to do some guided tours, but there won't be general access.
And what we want you to see is what there is here now, partly because it then means that when it's all finished, you have a before and after. But also that in the meantime, if people talk to you about Chester Farm and say, oh, what are they doing there? What's going on? You've seen it and you've got a rough idea what there is. So in many ways, we want you to be our ambassadors, to go out there and tell people that this is a good idea, and they will be able to get tea and cake soon. And we're such opportunists, both Sarah and myself, real opportunists. We had the electricity board, Western Power, came because there was an electric line, we didn't know where it went. So 2 blokes from Western Power came, marked out where the cabling under the ground was, and the first thing we did was explain to them what was going to be down here with tea, cake and loos. And they said, oh great, when it's home we'll put that on our itinerary, because basically they travel around the county and they like to know where they can get a cup of tea and a loo. So and so I made sure they were given half a dozen leaflets to take away. So it really is about getting everybody so they know what's there and what's going to happen. Now if we carry on to the ramp, back up here, and I'll show them the Go up the ramp.
If rather you didn't walk across, which is why, so we can perhaps just yes. I know it's a bit of a ponderous process walking up.
That's it, so that was my first pit.
People like Francis and Bruce might get very upset if you want to traipse across there.
And did that pit over there. And yesterday I was doing this bit here, all of this from here, from this corner, all along here. No, I didn't do it today. And then I did this one last week. That's it over there.
I said come on down.
Not this one, this big deep one. We'll just have a little look. Very, very little look. Right. And there's Sarah. Just have a quick look. See a big bone sticking out. See how deep it is? So it was that one. And Daddy did this one. That was mine there. I don't think we're going to get through. I think we have to stay this side. So let's go to this corner. That's it. So if you go around that wall, it's just around the other side. Okay, so just over there. Right.
Most of the stuff down this road will disappear because the service trench recorded before it's destroyed.
Right, if you can what I want to show you, there's two key things here that I really want you to see. Firstly, this building here, which I know you can all see, is a barn. It shows on a map, produced in 1756. One of the things that's interesting about it is it's been shortened, because originally it went all the way there. When they took it down, they left the foundations of that wall and this wall in situ. So these are post-medieval barn walls for a barn that will belong to that house, the house you can see at the end of the road. Obviously, this became a point where they wanted to make an entrance, so they shortened the barn and built a new wall. So these walls got cut down and just a drive put over the top of it. So that's one side of the story. We machined through here to see what there was, and this is something that's really quite interesting. Can you see how that wall, it's a bit like me Roman roads, it's all curved. Can you see how curved that is? Curved buildings like that tend to be either things like windmills, I don't think this is a good place for a windmill, or dovecotes. And we think this is likely to be either a late medieval or early post-medieval dovecote. Now, a dovecote is basically a house for pigeons and doves, so that the man in the house, the posh house, could say, "Cook, go get me 3 pigeons for tea." It is likely that that dovecote, however, is older than that house. So that dovecote may relate to that little triangle of stonework that I showed you. So what we're doing is slowly teasing together more and more of the story of the site. Almost everywhere we dig, we found little bits like that. It's only 2.5 metres long, that bit of wall. But it tells us something else about the site that we hadn't realised, and that's significant. All right, so that I wanted to show you. This will get cut through when the new road and services come through. The courtyard here is being tidied. And the office space that Sarah referred to, you can see that triangle of sort of asbestos and concrete panelling, and there's a similar triangle of corrugated iron over to the left. They're the 2 covered yards where the new offices are going to be. So in many ways they're here, but they're a bit tucked out of sight. All right? So the view of the house and things won't get impinged upon. All right? Shall we carry up?
This one here.
Sarah, I didn't. Sarah.
You know that bit of wall they said might be the
So that one there
not be sure that it's
was
not
also mine.
another like the adjacent bit like that.
They can't be sure of anything, they're just working on what they think is probably not.
That's it. So that was mine.
Because
And I did the one
it makes sense that
It's round the back of this.
but then that being demolished, so
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it went quite so big, was it?
Right next to the park, there's a Hubba Bubba skull where you get to,
Because you
it's
could
like
see
the
the kiln
centre, but
and
it's
where the oast house and,
That's right,
and the dove. I went up
Can you
that
just stand behind it?
to take photos.
That's it. Stand there.
Well, I didn't actually take photos because when I got up there,
Just take a photo. Just don't fall in. It's alright. Stay there. Wait. Good girl, well done. And this one. Really like the idea of a Hubba Bubba stand.
yeah. It's so cool. I really want one.
Someone took it.
I think it only costs £1.
Watch out, hang on. Stay close to the centre. That's it. Good girl. We won't do it just yet. We'll do it maybe later, okay?
Look, I'm going to have a Bubba skull.
I'll have to have a look at what it is, okay?
Okay. It's at the co-op near the park, so I'll show you.
Yeah, I have just bought you all those Mentos though, so maybe we'll do it another time. But yeah, you make sure you show me.
I'll show you again.
No, I won't do it today because we have to go to cafeteria.
It's really quick. It's near the cash counter. It's quite quick. And then
Okay. You okay? Good girl. Thank you. Careful, careful.
It's your pit that is on the panel over here.
No.
Because it's going to work as a farm, farmers have created level
We're going up in the house.
farm they take one of the soil away to create level ground. So this area here has got no archaeology in it, it's all been dug away by the farmer. Alright? What we do have, however, is a Roman ditch. And if you come this way, don't be scared, I did shower within living memory. Someone asked what the Romans did with the ironstone. They dug it out. We think they dug it out to take away, possibly to smelt. We don't know where. These are the two little quarry pits, and we have the deep ones here. Be very careful on the edges of these.
No,
Very careful the edges. Bruce has been down this hole for a very long time. He's allowed out 3 times a day, tea break, lunch and the end of the day. 5.5 foot deep. 5.5 foot deep. Without a ladder.
Got me a bit of wood there.
You have, I know. He's steadily worked through these pits, and I have to say that I don't envy him. They are very deep, and in many ways they are a little bit dangerous. But anyway, I wanted to show you the quarry pits, and the quarry pits here. Now, obviously the Romans took it away and exploited it, and what you possibly might not think about, but the prevailing wind is from the west. And it's likely that any industry is in the fields just beyond. So any smelting may be in the fields we're not yet into. All right? So it's possible this stuff didn't go very far and was worked over there to create iron. And it's the big question then is if they're making iron, are they then making tools and things that are sold in the town? For those of you that are looking at the buildings around, that barn's being demolished and it's going to be the site of the new Archaeological Resource Centre. These silos, which we nickname affectionately the Hobbit houses, are being destroyed and the concrete cleared away, and we'll clear the archaeology underneath them. That rather tatty looking barn is coming down as well, and all the archaeology under that will be cleared. So we're still going to be working on the archaeology on this site. This isn't the end of it, but this is the end of this stage of it. So I just want to show you these pits. Have a look, those of you that haven't seen, I think that's the deeper of the two, I think, but
Be very careful.
no, you've not get out. I can honestly say.
Yes. Don't report us to anyone from the county council, please, at this point. I'm going to close my eyes and pretend I'm not seeing any.
Step over. I'm going to walk around here because I didn't get to see any of this. It's incredible. I didn't see any. It's so massive.
No.
Yeah.
Or getting in the hole, and if we all run off,
Yeah. But we leave it there. Yeah, no, we don't kick it, we don't pick them up. Because they're just on the top. Yeah. This is a modern drain. But look. Look how deep. Look, just lean over, lean up. Wow. How did he get in and out?
I want to take this down to the layer that was there first.
How I think he got out.
Yeah, that's right. Those aren't stones.
They're skeletons.
Skeleton, that's it.
Down there, he needs to take a step onto that rock and then climb up there and then go up there. That's how he gets out.
That's right.
Now, those of you that have not noticed it, you'll notice we have another well here. This is our second well on the site. The significance of wells to archaeologists is not that we need a supply of water, but it's in the bottom of something like this, we'll get really good environmental information. The thing about water is it'll preserve things like beetles that have fallen in, pollen, bits of plant, usually a shoe. Obviously every Roman well I've ever dealt with has got a shoe in the bottom. But it can tell you about the environment. So if we get to the bottom of these two wells, they will tell us about what plants were growing around here. It might tell us what trees there were. There's one Roman well from Warwickshire where they had evidence there was a timber structure over the top of it, like a shed, that had woodworm, which I find quite fun. I had a well from Wollaston where we had hundreds of one type of beetle in the bottom. It had a wonderful name, and the Oxford professor who did the beetle IDs for me had no sense of humour. The beetle's second part of the name was Hemorrhoidalis. So you can imagine, I phoned him and said, "Are you telling me it's got a red back end?" "Oh no, it's not." Completely over his head. But anyway, so the potential of these things is enormous for what it can tell us about the picture that we can't get through any other means. All right. So anyway, so if we safely process through, and we'll get you back to your cars about 8:30.
Daddy.
So deep, isn't it?
When we get home, I fancy a hot chocolate and possibly squirty cream marshmallows because I'm so cold.